I'm really interested to see where TS go with this. Another thing we hit on, the Yuumi now taken away, but even though it's like, hey, Nye, you played against Zeka before back in the LPL, I really think we should finally start paying respect to the Akali that can come out in that mid lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Zeka has just looked so damn good on it, but it is the Maokai that is going to be banned out. Whether or not he's willing to just blind a colleague, I don't really know. Caitlyn, though, is left up, and it's just going to be locked in. So Caitlyn Lux will be the expected bot lane here for Deft and BeryL. They're going to be playing heavily for that 2v2.
And yes, this is always the answer from JackeyLove when someone wants to bring out something strong like the Caitlyn.
He says, you want to go toe-to-toe in the lane? Let me tell you about the Draven from JackeyLove.
Can I tell you what his win-loss is all-time on this champion?
You can.
With 17 games played, he has a 77% win ratio. When you stop and think that the majority of those are in the LPL, it does not get better than that.
Yeah, I mean, just huge. And I even like the fact that they paired the Azir with it, because typically when top esports draft the Draven, it's about keeping prio up in mid, so you can always have your jungle go down and dive the bot lane.
And Zeka's going to be running the Sylas into that Azir. The Sylas is his second most played champion, 23 professional games. But the thing I want to call out is, just as that Draven Azir was locked in, this stadium went electric. Everybody in here was tapping one another on the shoulder going, we get a JackeyLove Draven.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those pocket picks that as an LPL fan, you know, you look forward to.
Yep.
The confidence with which they lock it in, too.
Yes.
I love that it doesn't even have to be a discussion. He's like, oh, he picked Caitlyn. Draven.
Yeah, done.
Boom. Done. Get it in there.
I mean, again, it's something we've seen time and time again in LPL whenever Caitlyn's would come out. I would expect this to be able to come through as well, because again, when you draft the Draven, it's all about the kill lane. It's all about even potentially being able to set up those dives, and even just sets the Caitlyn behind.
And I will say, I'm actually really surprised that Graves got locked in on 3. I was just kind of foregoing even talking about that, because I was assuming it was going to be Caitlyn Lux, almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Lux, you can expect, will be banned out at this point. Of course, there are other pairings. A bit of a throwback, but honestly, when you're playing against Nautilus, Caitlyn Morgana can actually be quite strong as a potential lockdown there. Morgana obviously pretty trash into Azir, but it is an option. There are other enchanter supports that you can go towards, things like the Karma.
You always could go towards like a Braum as well, which could be a little bit rough.
I guess they're worried about a potential BeryL Heimerdinger. Very interesting.
Yeah, BeryL has been someone who has brought out obscure picks in the past, and
yeah, I mean, last Worlds, he actually had 12 different champions played, you know, at the World Championship, and he was actually tied with Fudge, I think, for the most different types of champions played.
The question I have for you is, with 3 professional games, of which he won 2, knowing Lux is still been available, is this a Heimer Lux Phase 2 ban? And more importantly, do you think it's worth banning? Is there something else we don't know?
I mean, the Heimer thing feels like this has to be a scrim thing to me, something that they've heard, because especially when you actually forgo the Lux early, they are clearly more concerned about a different type of niche pick that they were really seeing. So, you know, the Draven is a known pick. Maybe they're thinking, okay, we were going to go the Draven. They knew that. What was their answer going to be? I guess they were worried about Heimer. It's pretty interesting.
yeah, and now for the side of TS, so having to go towards a jungler a lot. I mean, 4 jungle bans from DRX on the top esports. I'm not even quite sure what's left and where you go. We've had things like Vi coming out if they did want to look for some type of point-and-click CC.
I mean, honestly, you can still go Vi, you can go Trundle, you can go towards a lot of things. Sejuani is still available, like Nocturne, there's Xin, there's tons of picks. I don't think that, you know, Tian is going to be feeling that limited. The Vi would make sense alongside the Nautilus for the dive here.
Yep.
But it does give a pretty good ultimate over to Zeka as well. You know, has a pretty good, couple good ones to steal.
Now looking at DRX for their top side, they're going to need engage in this composition.
Yeah.
Braum was another thing we hit on that could pair well with this Caitlyn to stop the engage from the Nautilus coming through.
But it's not engage on the side of DRX if that does get locked in. One small thing I will throw out there, all 7 games that I can see of Tian playing Vi were from this summer. So it's definitely one of the more recent pickups. He did win 5 of those games, and I'm still looking for an engage tool here.
Yeah, and the options become a little bit more limited because we already see that the Ornn is banned out there. You know, that's alongside the Maokai, the 2 kind of primary engage tanks right now. You could look for like a flanker or something like a Kingen or a Gnar, but it's not really like guaranteed engage, and it will in fact be the Gnar. Braum plus double marksman is of course a really strong combo.
Do it.
Will Wayward go for the Yo, which is really strong into the Gnar?
He's played it once so far in summer, so it's not something that would be uncharacteristic for him. But for TES as well.
Well, we're going to find out once this last pick comes in. It's going to be the Jacks instead. 4 games played, 3 of them with victories. Lyric, I'm going to come to you first. Let's zoom out and talk about the compositions and how they want to win respectively.
Yeah, I mean, this whole game for both teams is going to be bot lane centric, right? Starting with top esports, it's all about setting up those dives that we talked about. You're taking the Azir early to try to guarantee yourself some prio in mid. Tian using that, pathing down towards that bot lane, and then JackeyLove and Mark aggressing on DRX nonstop.
And I mean, it's so interesting because, you know, we see Caitlyn locked in. You're expecting snowball through bot, you know, play heavily towards that. But with the context of the Draven being locked in and then going towards the Braum, it becomes more about neutralizing and actually just farming this out. It becomes more of a focus, I think, towards Zeka and Pyosik, you know, playing as that kind of two-man squad where they're going to try to get advantages, where they're going to try to be unlocked on the map to move towards side lanes and punish something like a pushing Draven.
And, you know, for the side of DRX, right, not a lot of, like, guaranteed or easy engage angles come through. Like, you have things like Braum passive, sure, Abscond of Duck coming from Sylas, and then Kingen going to rely on the Mega Gnar, so they're going to be playing on a nice edge to find the picks they need.
Now, we said earlier that I live on hopium, silver linings on the clouds. That's what I'm looking for. There's one thing I do like about DRX's comp. They're going to be great at counter-engage. And there's one thing that I think TS's comp wants to do is engage.
Absolutely, but it is a very scary prospect, allowing top to choose when and where you fight. This is a team that is so good at skirmishing. And when you allow them to choose the moments of where you're going to fight, when you're going to fight, it's going to be really, really hard for DRX because it's so easy to play around Mega Gnar as long as you're tracking that Gnar.
It's going to be so hard. New York City, Hulu Theater, to put your hands together. You think DRX will win this game? I want to see how loud they get. New York, do you think top will win this game? Yep, that's what I thought was coming. I know I set it up on purpose, but my word, huge shout outs to every single one of you for bringing the energy and hype all day. But DRX are still on top of award. Top esports are aware of this, and there's not enough around.
Yep, gonna just back it out. I mean, gotta give credit to the LPL faithful. No matter where Worlds is played, the LPL fans make it feel like they're right at home.
Yeah, especially when you have a superstar like JackeyLove. I mean, already a world champion, right? Coming back once again. And for top esports overall, looking for a bit of redemption at this World Championship. They were once again favorites back in 2020, one of the names in the hat, but Suning were actually the team from the LPL to make it the furthest. So TS definitely wanting to do better this time around. Already had a great game 1 against Scam Esports, and now with a lot of comfort locked in, looking to do the same here.
And against a much tougher opponent, you know, here potentially, you know, we are expecting DRX to really be playing at that high level. Of course, they did lose their first game here in groups, but did look incredible throughout play-ins. This is going to be, you know, a test for top, so we'll see exactly how well they can play out this first big game.
The question I'm going to ask you is, what do you want to see from DRX's perspective for this composition to win you over? In my head, I think I prefer what Top Esports has put together, but there is outplay potential.
Yeah, I mean, I really prefer what Top has put together. I'm a big proponent of actually playing towards heavy engage. Having multiple forms of engage allows you to actually dictate the lane.
Look at that, that's what you're expecting, but JackeyLove going low! JackeyLove is about to go down! One more shot is all that's needed! He flashes and stays! How the hell did that work?
I don't know, JackeyLove just walking in and Deft just autoing him down the whole time. Looked like maybe they were trying to get onto BeryL, but it just left JackeyLove open for Deft to just free hit.
Yeah, they were trying to actually burst down BeryL there, thought they would have a window to actually kill him off. At the end of the day, it is +1 summoners for DRX who are trying to play that lane to neutralize here. As we're going to see Wayward trying to trade aggressively with that grass, looking for the leaf strike forward. But to go back to what you were asking, Trevor, you know, I think we need to see Pyosik playing really ahead of the pace of that Vi. He needs to be in the face of the Vi, tracking where Tian is, taking away camps, really out-farming him and becoming a true team fight threat. Because he needs to be able to win in those 2v2s if they do mash up. Needs to be able to kind of unleash Zeka on the map, because I think that's a lot of where DRX could find success.
Exactly. I think it's all about mid-jungle 2v2 coming out for them, especially Zeka. Steal away Tian's ultimate. You can instantly focus down Knight, and then the burst coming out from Pyosik should be enough for them to then transfer that to their side lanes.
Exactly. I mean, if Zeka can't get out on the map, can't actually, you know, get access to those ultimates, then they really have very little engage. But, you know, if he is able to get towards those fights, he can seal the Nautilus ultimate, he can seal the Vi ultimate, even potentially an Azir ult to try to really be that primary engage for his team. So, so much pressure, I think, on Zeka to perform in this one.
I'm really glad you guys just pointed that out because I completely forgot about Hijack during the draft, and there will be a lot of tools available to him. I mean, imagine he gets that from Nautilus, who, by the way, is making his way down low. A few people here in the theater had a bit of a chuckle once that dredge line failed to reach the wall. I appreciated that, New York. Thank you for that one. But I do want to take a zoom out. All 4 summoners blown on the side of top esports, but very, very importantly, Deft still has his flash available despite that exchange. Slightly ahead on CS because of the fact they're able to push them back, but that will be important to track. Sums versus no Suns as Tian's making his way forward.
Exactly, we can already see both junglers playing towards the bot side, but Tian actually pivoting to maybe punish Zeka first.
Oh, the Lee Syndrome. It could be enough damage. Not going to do it just yet. And charges up that Vault Breaker. Zeka holds on to it, manages to not expend the summoner spell.
A little bit of a mind game there. You know, normally in those situations, I think Tian would flash for the Q flash, but I think he expected Zeka to, so he says, I'm going to hold on to my flash, try to go +1, but Zeka, ice in his veins there, not actually reacting to the play.
Just great overall by him. He will still have to give up Prio in mid lane. And Tian with the crossover, actually potentially looking for a dive. You can see Wayward actually getting the second wave coming in now. So there is a stack coming up.
Now, with the exception of that bottom lane pushing back, every lane is now in favor of top esports. Kingen's got that ward, he's aware of it, trying his best to clear out that vision. Down the bottom lane, it's Deft and BeryL that are currently pushing forward into JackeyLove and Mark as he needs to complete that TP, catch the wave, and start to push it back out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tian is up towards the top side, so they know that their jungler, you know, is on the other side of the map. They're down a summoner, but Pyosik is going to get pushed out because of the collapse here from Jackie and Mark. So nicely played by top. You know, it is important for Graves to be out farming their opponent, you know, really trying to up that pace constantly. But because of the pressure that this bot lane has, you know, moves back, covers the wolves, and will keep Tian actually up in camps for now.
I even actually feel like you just described what DRX wanted to do perfectly and what we've seen so far, right? Neutralizing top esports, because Tian, he's trying to look for ganks down multiple lanes, tries to go mid. I mean, Zeka, again, just kind of veins of ice, not going for the flash. And then Kingen having the ward up in top side. Top esports haven't been able to find any of the aggression that they've been trying so hard to find.
And I will admit, the Draven engage with Nautilus in that bottom lane has ended up hurting just a little. More importantly, JackeyLove will close the CS gap in a moment. There's 2 waves in front of him. But we're up to level 4, making our way to level 5, and the Caitlyn Braum have actually been pushing forward for the last 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because of that summoner advantage. You know, Jackie still doesn't quite have his flash back. Once those summoners are back, we are going to see top, I think, begin to play again, you know, from that position of power, looking to play a little bit more aggressive. You can see this rated Dirk is already through for Jackie, so it is quite a powerful buy here. Over compared to, obviously, Deft here with those tier 2 boots, as they're going to try to look for Wayward.
Pyosik stepping forward, smoke screen. Slow things down just a moment. Flash still available. Leap to the minion. Smoke screen for vision. And the flash gets popped. So successful gank here from Pyosik and Kingen. It's not done yet. Sorry, Lyric. JackeyLove's jumped on. Cleanser's already blown. Flash is available in a second or 2. Built over Peacemaker goes forward. The dredge line is dodged away from as BeryL uses stand behind me. And JackeyLove again is bullied out.
Things look so rough, but Trevor, you're still not done.
No, we're not. Way away. Will he survive? Counter-strike stun. Current shot. Now steps forward. Hop, skip, jump. Kingen first blood.
DRX commit to the top side play. Wayward was too low, and they're able to find the kill. Looks like they're even going to get the wave pushed in, and Wayward doesn't have TP.
Yeah, that one hurts to die under your tower there, and I think that Tian's read was that he was safe. You know, Tian was up on that top side, did go back to base. Wayward stayed around, tried to get it out for the wave. I'm interested to see if recall was actually delayed by Pyosik or if he just elected to stay, because we were watching that 2v2 and didn't really get to see the setup, so hopefully we'll get a replay of that.
Yeah, but for now, we're actually focusing more on the bottom side as Tian wanting to counter jungle and take away some of Pyosik's camps. They have Cryo in mid, but they will have to be careful. JackeyLove on a reset right now, so they do just elect to back off in the end.
Top esports down just a small amount of gold. Thanks to the fact that Tian's been able to power farm, and we're watching this now. Didn't quite go far enough back there, is that?
Yeah, it looks like he just elected to actually stay around. It wasn't that he wasn't able to base. He did decide to try to come back and farm this up, but the problem is, with Pyosik around, he gets the wraparound and he gets punished there very, very heavily. So greeting it out a little bit for the farm. and this one is going to hurt him quite a lot.
And it's even going to set up for DRX to just make this play up towards the top side for Rift Herald. I think it's smart by TS to not opt into the fight themselves. They're just staying down towards that bottom side. Even Tian there right now. They could potentially look to set up a play because DRX got this one for free.
I think this is huge for any fan of DRX. Looking at the setup, I think importantly, the 2v2 was well played by both respective teams, but Deft and BeryL, I would argue, are going to benefit more from making it to 9 minutes in, being an even CS against the Draven Nautilus lane. And more importantly, DRX have got some advantages up top. They're fending off the aggression despite multiple attempts. And right now, it's up to DRX to continue to try and balance this out, because there's a lot of plate damage being secured. Pyosik will find Wayward once more, but a strong opening 10 minutes, a minor advantage for the LCK.
Yeah, minor advantage here for DRX. They do have the Herald that they are going to be able to actually grab up, but at the end of the day, a lot of this game, I think, is going to come down to can JackeyLove get that cash in. He already has about 200 stacks here on the Draven. So much additional gold waiting to be grabbed up. You know, you become such a target of play for both teams at this point, and the tension just rises and rises. The more stacks you get, the more the enemy team wants to play around you and try to take you down, and the more Tian needs to be here hovering to make sure that they can.
That's why I'm actually surprised, because DRX were just leaning up towards top side before Pyosik backed. It looked like they were going to try to play for themselves. As both AD carries getting chunked. Deft quite low, and Tian has ulti.
I mean, those spinning axes. There's the depth charge. This soap to stop the batteries got him to it. Now Deft is alive. So many auto attacks are being blocked by the unbreakable wall, but finally the flashes are committed.
And now Pyosik is here, and Mark is in trouble. Zeka arrives, and he has the soul ulti. Jackie's gonna go down.
Oh, look at that. Jackie's caught up. DRX win the fight.
Oh my god, BeryL played that so incredibly well. He held his wall for so long. We need to see a replay of this because Jackie was holding his ultimate to try to get the execution on Deft, but BeryL steals of nerve there. God, he pulls up the unbreakable last split second to actually block out the Draven ulti, deny the cash in. Jackie then even has to flash forward to try to get it, still can't get it.
Exactly. I believe JackeyLove was holding onto that flash too. They were trying so hard to be able to get all that gold onto him. But now, again, DRX have done so well at neutralizing and making sure that this Draven isn't allowed to play the way it wants.
DRX up 1,400 gold. The way that team fight played out literally stopped my brain. There's a little bit of oh no. Ace in the whole fight out, did not interrupt the recall. Knight will complete this teleport to the middle lane to help defend. So top Esports, they managed to get the first dragon. They managed to pick up that first kill, but the punch backs here from DRX have been great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's JackeyLove losing over 150 stacks there, and Zeka looking for him once more. Everfrost does hit the slow. BeryL's coming over.
Oh my word! Throw everything at JackeyLove. DRX are here to play.
The coordination on that play was great as well. JackeyLove no flash. Still thought maybe he was fine because the cleanse was up, but then BeryL coming from right behind him. They're going to make sure they can get more plates down on this bottom side. They even have a Rift Herald.
DRX are playing incredibly well there. BeryL on the wraparound, flashing over the wall. It's a long-range ultimate from Pyosik, splashing the damage through. This tower is gone, and it's going to be Deft getting miles ahead off of it.
Unbelievable start. 12 minutes in, that Goldie continues to balloon. Zeka, 3 kills to his name. Kingen has already got 1. You can see the gold differences, plus 1,100, plus 400 in the mid lane. That CS advantage is really helping now Tide. Knight out, but the most important for me is the fact that Caitlyn has survived the early game. JackeyLove has been unsuccessful in his attempts to get ahead, but you cannot deny the damage that Draven will do, and he is still stacking.
Yeah, but still, I feel like for TS overall, it's kind of like, okay, bot lane wasn't able to get done what it needed to get done. Wayward's losing in top side. Tian not going to be able to find anything, but all of our eyes now need to be on Knight. He's the one who had a favorable matchup. He had the CS advantage because Zeka was roaming on the map, and he's the player that's always been highlighted for TS as the big carry.
Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of pressure on him, but unfortunately, Zeka got 3 kills on those roams, so it does make the 1v1 a lot harder. And to me, this game has really come down to 2 moments. The failed cash in there from Jackie, BeryL's brilliant play, I think, denying that, baiting in his flash, which cost Jackie his life, loses the stacks, and also Wayward staying around top and dying with the wave push towards him. Those 2 plays cost top thousands of gold in this game and really are going to be the things that are pushing DRX forward.
And you can see now, 4TS actually pivoting their game plan to try to find picks on sides with the Jacks and at least have this threat to play out through side lanes, but Zeka isn't balling for it.
Cease and desist has been hijacked. Teleport is being channeled. Pyosik's making his way forward. Does Zeka fancy a shot? No, Pyosik's turning. JackeyLove is going to be caught up with the help of Mark. Jackie's running for his life. Mark is caught in the river. He's down. DRX are doing it. DRX are ahead. And the only way for Top to try claw back, they've got to throw themselves into this comp.
DRX are crushing Top in this game. They're looking incredibly strong. Mark gets caught on the pincer move, and Jackie dies for the third time this game. Again, losing the stacks. He's just going to have no gold on the cash, and even if he does eventually get a kill, he's got down to 19 stacks at this point. He was over 200 very early on.
Oh, but we are
Not done. Lyric is not done.
No,
Wayward, Counter-Strike comes up the boulder. Not going to find the damage.
He does manage to get away in the end, but still, the domination from DRX so far has been absolutely huge. And honestly, even like looking at that play, I hope we get a replay because Tian and Wayward there look so disjointed. Wayward actually started backing off when Tian had used his ulti to go in for the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting very, very difficult. I mean, Wayward does survive, but he's down his flash. He's down 40 CS, which is not something I would have been expecting from this matchup whatsoever, but a few mistakes and a few great plays from DRX has pushed him out of this. And when you're playing these melee versus range matchups and you can't threaten the all-in, you can't play aggressive, you have no recourse. All you do is just eat poke and fall further and further and further behind.
Remember as well, Wayward elected to stay under that tower top, right? He elected to do so, and Pyosik, with the help of Kingen, punished him. Part of the reason that allowed Kingen to do so well. Oh my word! Empress Divide, hijacked Empress Divide. I'm waiting to see if Tian gets involved. Pyosik is shadowing again, and I think, gentlemen, one of you talks about how you want to see Pyosik shadowing, tracking Tian, making sure he doesn't get ahead. I think Pyosik's doing a great job of that.
Yeah, he's done great, and even BeryL as well, you can see him slightly hovering into river just in case anything comes through. And I love what DRX are doing here. Use the ult up in top lane. Caitlyn ult comes out as well. Chunk them low so they can't even walk in to try to contest this Rift Herald.
And you can see Pyosik 100% KP throughout the game, has been looking really, really strong. But as we popped up the gold leads, it's actually Knight who is still ahead of everyone in this game. He's playing first strike, so has a lot of additional gold. And Tian trying to move forward. Pyosik needs to turn the Herald around, or it's going to be Tian that can get the eye. Because he can't turn it, it's out of patience. He doesn't try to finish it off.
And the thing is, Wayward as well actually stuck around, but Wayward has TP to where Kingen doesn't. So I like that DRX actually end up backing off from this play, and it looks like maybe Top Esports gonna look for a collapse on a Kingen, but Wayward hasn't been doing too hot in the 1v1.
No, I mean, JackeyLove started making his way down, decided to back away. The rest of Top Esports were able to apply enough pressure in the river to force DRX back, and now they have lost control. This Herald is pulling everybody's attention.
I'm actually so surprised they ended up backing off, because when Top Esports not starting off the Herald right as DRX left, it allowed for Kingen to push in the bot wave and kind of gave up the fact that Wayward had TP and they could threaten a fight with numbers advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just feeling like they're a little bit too far behind. They're trying to buy more time for Knight, potentially. Tian and Knight investing a lot of time into this, trying to lay in wait here. But at the same time, the Herald has gone over, and there's no counterplay on the bottom side there for Top. They are so heavily invested into finding a play through this, getting this kill on the tower for Knight, getting that solo gold into the Azir. It's just all eggs in the Knight basket, it feels like at this point. And DRX can really go down and take that dragon at their own leisure.
Well, we'll have to find out what happens with the rest of Top Esports' performance here in the Hulu Theater. People are quiet. This is a shocking start to the game, one in which my analysts were being favorable, 20, 30% chance of winning, and DRX have supplanted. They are going to play. Their play and performance should not be scoffed at, and they are stepping up the top.
And that's one of the things, right? I mean, RNG doing well. They went through planes. DRX now coming back and slapping Top. They went through planes. How much has planes helped these teams level up, figure out the meta, figure out what their strengths are? It looks like it's doing a lot so far for DRX.
Man, that dragon is going to be spawning the Infernal Rift, the most popular soul that we play for up to, at least today. I haven't been able to update the numbers, but we've seen a lot of Hextech souls, a lot of Infernal souls, teams fighting for them, and frankly, both of these compositions will be ecstatic to make their way towards that Inferno Slot. There's loads of damage on both sides. But I think more importantly for me, I want to see our top esports come back into this game. They're always going to have some sort of side lane pressure on the Jacks, and it'll just take time. It's an eventuality. But more importantly, if they throw themselves at DRX, almost the entire composition of DRX can deal with that. There's a lot of disengage and spacing tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think they just want to slow down the game, right? And I think Tian has kind of given up on the Draven experiment here a little bit. It's all about enabling Knight. Make sure Knight is farming at a really fast clip. Make sure he's getting his gold. He's going to be going for Shadow Flame second, and then I'm interested to see if he goes something defensive or just goes straight towards the death gap and tries to hard carry this game. It will be a little bit more risky because of something like a stolen Nautilus ult could really take advantage of the fact that you have no defensive stats, but there is a lot of pressure on Knight to get the damage done because it's not really going to come from anywhere else right now.
Yeah, and I feel like being bold and maybe going towards more damage like a death cap might be the play, especially if you look. I mean, Dragons have been so slow this game, both only sitting on one apiece. TS actually might be able to get the time they need unless they overstep, because even though DRX I think have fantastic defensive tools, it's still a lot on Zeka being the one to use that prio and then go find these aggressive dives to just find aggressive kills for DRX.
One thing that is good for DRX is Zeka's having a great game. Still 4-0-0. This tower is now going to be under siege by the second Rift Herald, which is eventually concluded or secured by DRX. JackeyLove has been able to build up 216 stacks despite the 3 deaths, but look, the tower has dropped 3-1 in towers.
And you can see how much he's even doing some of these little tricks, actually pulling out the blue buff, just stacking up on the blue buff, not actually taking it for himself away from Knight, but just leeching it back even. So it's fun to see some of these little tricks that the Draven players will do to try to really maximize however many stacks they can possibly get.
Sadly for TS though, it still feels like Jackie not going to be relevant anytime soon. The silver lining is at least they do have such a good trigger pool with something like a Nautilus that if any member of DRX oversteps, they could potentially find it, but DRX haven't been overstepping just yet.
No, and they have so many good answers, right? You're looking towards Zeka. Do you want to shut him down? Well, he has a stopwatch. You look at Deft. There's an exhaust on BeryL. There's Guardian. There's already a full lock completed. There's so many strong defensive tools here that it's going to be very, very difficult for one person to just kind of get picked out.
Derek, it's 20 minutes into the game. It sets some expectations on what you think top esports' mentality mindset will be. They're in a surprising position. They're down a significant amount of gold. Do you believe this team has the mentality and also the composition to start to claw this back?
Yes, I think TS have been a team that are both bold and patient enough to be like, hey, we're going to wait for our moment, but they aren't a team that's too afraid to like take advantage of, oh, hey, this team oversteps spot lane, we look for a Baron rush. Oh, they're going here, we look for the pick. So definitely a team that has the confidence to do it. The question to me is, does DRX give them any type of opening? Because they are still playing so well, juggling their bot lane pressure from Kingen with their top side.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. If you look at the minimap, it's 1-3-1. You can see Zeka pushing top, Kingen was shoving out bottom. Both players have teleport available respectively. They've extended that Goldie to 21 minutes. And Azael, you've been a master on that telestrator today, as now it looks like DRX are going to start the siege in the top lane.
I mean, all the waves are actually pushed in. You can see the top are just losing more and more control on the map. You know, you start to look at this line of wards, it's getting further and further up. You know, for top on the top side, that's about as far as their vision goes. They have this one ward down here as well. They've got one flanking ward deep in the enemy jungle and one up in the top lane, but they are losing more and more vision, which means you're going to lose control of your jungle camps, and that just means DRX's gold lead is going to continue extending, especially when there's a champion like Graves who can just power farm this incredibly fast, and as a result, he's a good 40 CS ahead now.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Tian's items so far. Only the Kempunk Chainsword, not even finishing a mythic, compared to Pyosik, who has 2 full items in inventory.
That's a bit of a diffy in the jungle, as far as I'm concerned.
Diffy in the jiffy,
A diffy in the jiffy, is that what the kids say these days? I'm not really up to date. What I will say, though, is Dragon is spawning in 20 seconds. I saw a lot of vision from DRX have been pushed into that northern quadrant of the jungle. Now both teams, frankly, maybe a little bit late for setup, but we're getting, you know, potential to a 5v5.
Yeah, top have decided to kind of draw a line in the sand. They want to fight for this dragon. They have 2 items for Jackie, 2 items for Knight. They're saying it's not getting better. 2 items done as well for Wayward, and they're going to try to throw down the gauntlet here and fight.
And I'm so surprised when we said, hey, Dragons haven't really been accelerating. Both teams only at 1 apiece, and Zeka maybe going to find an opening because he has been able to take away Tian's ultimate.
You can feel the tension on the cast is Zeka didn't find the chains, didn't find the CC, and doesn't pull the trigger on the ultimate.
No, and I love that Top Esports actually end up backing away because DRX, I still feel like, are favored in this fight. Again, Tian still not even having a mythic item completed, so DRX will get this one, and Top Esports elect to just go get their topside camps, push waves, and get vision down.
I will say I was just really surprised by the positioning in general then,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't want to contest, just abandon ship, go towards top, get the waves actually even more pushed out, because now, you know, DRX is actually up towards that top side. Knight can't even fully push out the wave because they spent a lot of time down around bot, which is why I thought they were actually going to look to challenge. I think the read instead was, let's go, let's see if we can find an easy pick, then maybe go forward from there, because they are on their spikes, but I do think overall this is a more intelligent decision.
I mean, at the end of the day, for Top Esports, it was the second Dragon conceded. It is still that 5,000 on gold lead, which, to be fair, has been there for about 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a significant amount of time. It gets more risky for DRX to push those side lanes, but take a look. Kingen has got himself the Black Cleaver after the Triforce. Frozen Heart as well, Divine Sundra for Jax on Wayward. Level 14 on that Jax. That advantage that Gnar has started to build up may start to dwindle somewhat in those side lanes, and it's a slightly squishier build, so when teamfights break out, Kingen has to be spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you do actually hit the Frozen Heart there on Wayward, when you hit level 13 as well, the cooldowns really start getting lower. You can get multiple counter-strikes off in a team fight, and that's when Jax can actually turn from exclusively side lane to more of a team fighter, right? You have the resistances with your ulti pop, you can get that counter-strike out, jump in on someone like Deft, push him back, and then retreat back to your team and wait for the second round of cooldowns.
And of course, let's quickly talk about the fact that JackeyLove is approaching 400 stacks on that Draven. So not only will Jax have a lot of tools and kits in his available, as well as late game power, if JackeyLove cashes in, that's going to be a big payday.
Oh, he might be caught out, though.
Find out the Glacial Fissure is dropped down. Knight is holding on to the Emperor's Divide, and Zeka's not here. This is a 4 versus 5 zoning game. It's about sending a message so Zeka can push top.
I think Top Esports actually were trying to get to an angle where they can posture for a fight because Zeka was top, and I assume they know that he doesn't have TP on the board. Wayward kept hovering over, but DRX actually were the ones to do a brunt of the damage.
Lyric, you said it not 5 minutes ago. Will DRX allow Top Esports to engage? The answer in this little mid lane trade? Absolutely not.
No, they've done such a fantastic job. I even love that Wayward was trying to drop waves, and Kingen's like, I don't care, I'm going to keep shadowing you, making sure you can't find an opportunity. And then BeryL so far, I think, has done a really good job of making sure no one can come forward on the Deft.
Yeah, absolutely. And answer to our question is that Knight is going to go for the stopwatch and then try to go straight towards the death gap from there, which I do think is a very intelligent kind of middle road. Jackie working towards LDR will be a big spike on 4, but it does mean he's not going to have the IE for quite some time. With all of those additional stacks, though, you have to remember that the amount of stacks is also where your ultimate will execute from. So if they are below 435 health, you hit them with the Whirling Death, you're going to get that massive cash-in, which could do a lot to try to slingshot them back into this game, especially if it's a kill on someone like Zeka, who has that large bounty, but it is an over 7,000 gold lead now.
They're at the final hurdle. DRX, a team that some of our LCK colleagues were calling LPL's 5th seed. They are now in a position where they're
I actually think I was the one who called them that.
I think it was Chronicler, but I think you showed it on air. But I think in terms of just the storyline, the surprises, the expectations, it is crucial to remember Top Esports came out on top when these two teams met last year. DRX have been potentially underestimated. They're playing incredibly well, and they're utilizing their draft to perfection. Once again, Kingen pushed out the bottom wave, caught the middle wave, and now he's grouping with the rest of his team.
Yeah, I mean, just a great setup overall. It allows you to pretty much keep pushing your pressure up and potentially allow you to find vision, find picks that are necessary. TS, though, still aren't giving in, but I love that you mentioned the 5th seed thing, QuickShot, because the strangest thing is, right, coming in, not a lot of LCK fans or LCK casters, LCK faithful had faith in DRX doing too well, and they just completely stunned the world.
Do they have faith for the upset? Do they have faith for BeryL to survive? JackeyLove is spinning them axes. He's getting that adrenaline. He sidestepped the pressure, but he's been jumped on. Cleanse and flash, and Jackie's running for his life. Zeka misses the chains, but he stole the Whirling Death. He goes golden, thanks to the Hourglass, but the first kill is secured by Pyosik, and Wayward is down. Tian is down. Top Esports are getting obliterated. eliminated.
They are crushing them. DRX lose no one in the fight. Again, Jackie will lose all of the stacks. And Kingen already in the top lane, pushing in. DRX will crack the base.
Yeah, DRX potentially going to be able to get an inhibitor. Looks like they're thinking about maybe pivoting towards the Baron now, realizing, hey, Knight's back in base, we can't go for this push, but huge fight from DRX.
Azael, how much of an upset is this in the context of the World Championship?
It's massive. DRX coming in here as such a huge underdog, the 4th seed from the LCK. Not a team that a lot of people had the faith in to be able to bring the level of consistency to take down someone like Top. But they're doing it right here, right now, day 3 of groups. It was a great sidestep there from JackeyLove, but the damage he takes early on from Deft just pushes him entirely out of the fight. Throws the ulti across, but unfortunately it means he doesn't actually have it for an execute onto Knight, Zeka, excuse me, as he comes out of the hourglass.
Yeah, so not able to get much done there, and then Pyosik and Kingen actually were able to keep Knight out from the fight, walking towards the backline. Wayward got taken down super early on as well, went a little bit over-aggressive, and the Gnar ult was able to come out to keep him down, and then this huge moment.
They're shocked. They're wearing masks, and you can tell they are not believing what they are seeing. The depth charge has been hijacked. The depth charge has not been fired.
And like we said, DRX and Top Esports, same group in 2020. TES 2-0'd them last time around. Doesn't look like it's going to go the same way in 2022. With the push they have from Baron, they're also able to put themselves on Soul Point, and things are looking doomed for TES.
DRX are just looking incredible in this one. Over 11,000 gold ahead with the Baron buff on Soul Point. Knight is the sole hope remaining here for Top. He does have the death cap complete. He is incredibly strong, comparable with the strongest members on DRX, but the problem is everyone on DRX is a threat.
0-0-0 for Knight. JackeyLove is melted. He waddled on the slow and was burst by the 4th seed from the LCK. Pyosik's got himself 3 already. Knight gets at least 1 back, but the tower falls. That's 2 more. The quadra, the ace, the base. DRX have done it.
Pyosik was so huge in this game, making sure JackeyLove's famous Draven couldn't take over.
New York City, you will remember the day that DRX struck back against Top Esports.
What a performance from DRX here. Absolutely incredible, entering themselves into the conversation here to really mix it up with the big dogs. The laughs, dance for Deft. You can see the emotion on the fans' faces there as they stepped up big time, and what a monster performance from Pyosik. He was everywhere he needed to be.
Can I tell you something? That these play-ins teams need more respect on their names. As we're a few days in, DRX stepping up, RNG stepping up. Congratulations to DRX. What a phenomenal performance. I mean, Lyric, I know it's 1 game, but this was not what we were anticipating.
No, I mean, even the way that they did it right, as fans, it's impossible not to love Deft. That's why we got the support alpaca up on the desk.
I mean, you just have to love the emotion of the fans.
Yeah.
I mean, we see fans literally move to tears, cheering for Deft. And you see how meaningful, this upset is.